What's poppin', players? Welcome back to a TwoPennyGames review, this time for Clair Obscure Expedition 33. I am your host, Tavin Bothel, here with my good friend and co-host. Say hello to the people, Philip Shoemaker.
That's me. Hello.
Phil, welcome.
Thanks.
It's so rare where we get to have you on this side of a table.
Yeah.
You know, just direct face-to-face.
Looking directly at you.
Yeah. So, of course, Clair Obscure Expedition 33 released much earlier this year to much fanfare, right?
April 24th?
Something like that. We slow played this one because both of us felt this was not one that needed to be rushed. And boy, oh boy, am I glad I did that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got to really live in that world. Got to really, really dive in deep and really understand its system fully.
Oh, I dove in deep.
And spend a lot of good time with its characters and with its, gameplay systems and all that. And this was one that, like, absolutely, this is not one you want to rush through at all, I would say. By the end of it all, or the last time I played, I rolled credits at about 52 hours, somewhere around there. Do you remember when you rolled credits? I think you were somewhere around there as well.
I said it in the chat. Let me find it.
Yeah. And which I thought was funny because, reading reviews and watching reviews on YouTube and so forth, everyone was like, oh yeah, like 25, 26 hours. And I was past that point before I even got or as I was getting into Act 2, I was past that point, and I was like, "Oh snap, this is crazy." And so let's go ahead and get right into it, ladies and gentlemen, because I've been very, very excited to talk on this game.
51 hours, 57 minutes, and 50.
All right, so pretty much 52 hours. And then you've since platinumed the game.
I have platinumed the game.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
I've not found the time to go back and do that myself, but I'm sure I will. I'm just in a beating games mood right now. So now I'm like, oh, let me, play around with Blueprints a little bit. Let me, get work on Death Stranding 2 a little bit more. I'm so close to that ending. I just keep getting distracted by all the Death Stranding stuff.
I had probably done a good 90 to 95% of it before I even.
So that final fight was fucking nothing to you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, it really wasn't shit to me either. But I still had to think about my next move.
No, I virtually he barely even got turns.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that didn't happen for me. There was turns, which I'm curious as to how that played out because it's a very epic thing when there's multiple rounds of the thing,
Well, so from the first hit, it'll
no spoilers. No spoilers.
No, of course not. But there's a damage gate, and that's a very common thing in this game. Whenever you're fighting a boss, so you hit this
the stun gauge.
No, a damage gate where it'll stop after a certain amount of damage because then you have to get to the next part of the sequence.
Oh, I see. Okay, I see. So
the
number is bigger than what the actual bar is going down
Correct.
to. Got you. So
it stops you there because then it's
you're
okay,
doing
I need to shift into this mode.
You're doing 250,000 and really they're only knocking off 30,000.
Right.
Got you. Okay, that totally makes sense because they got to play the next bit.
Right.
100%. Well, and then the final fight, I imagine, was just a one-hit thing for you then.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That one win a couple of hits. That one win a couple of hits for me.
Yeah. The choice was pretty much one shot.
See, again, I'm real glad that I just went ahead and finished the game. I'll say once you get to Act 3, just finish the game. Mm-hmm. You'll be able to explore and do all the other things over. I found that final moment that I'm talking about much more impactful because characters were able to exchange dialogue back and forth.
More poignant.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, Clair Obscure Expedition 33 is an amazing game. The big highlight of this game is by far its combat. It is a classic turn-based game with a wonderful world map that you're exploring, going through. But they shake it up by doing a lot of really, really cool things with a lot of really cool in-depth systems. But most famously, obviously, it's parrying and dodge systems, so you can parry and dodge attacks and get counterattacks off and stuff like that. All of that feels so great to use. I fucking adore the combat in this game. And then, of course, when you get deeper into the game and you start playing around with your Pictos, with your Luminas, all of those different things, and balancing out what your build is going to be, and you start leveling up your character to get all these different moves that play into each other. Just the way that this game is able to layer all of its combat mechanics on top of itself is so impressive because it feels like right out of the gate, you're able to break the combat, but the game is constantly always able to step it up another notch to where you're not fully breaking the combat yet until you get way, way deeper and then it gets ridiculous. But throughout the entire game, it feels like every time I jump into my Luminas and my character builds and all that, it feels like I go, oh man, this is going to totally break the game. And I have a couple of small little fights, and I'm like, yeah, this totally breaks the game. And then a new boss fight comes in, and that new boss fight might come with a new mechanic that you didn't know about, or that they introduced later on. And all of that just continuously builds that tension and builds that layer of complexity in a way that I find RPGs really, really struggle with. The thing that's great about this game is most RPGs I find to be very boring in its opening hours. This game cuts all the fat and gets straight to it with a great narrative punch in the beginning, and then immediately following up with a combat system that just really lets you dive in immediately. And it feels deeper than it is, so that when you do eventually get to those deep parts, you think, whoa, this is intense. This is insane. But it's never overwhelming, I would say. There are moments where you're like, ooh, I got a lot of options, and I do have a little bit of decision paralysis here. But overall, I think the game is able to simultaneously sprinkle out enough mechanics and enough upgrades and things to keep you engaged, but never make you feel like, it's taking forever to get to the next thing. Or, I want to be able to do this. Clearly, the game is going to let me do this, but they haven't tutorialized it to me yet. That it just doesn't happen here. I don't understand the magic sauce that they've been able to do that. And then on top of that, really great narrative, phenomenal characters, great characters, phenomenal character writing. I do think the overall plot of the game is fine. Okay, we as characters have this next objective. We got to go do this thing before we can get to the next thing. That's fine. It's okay. But it's really all that great character writing that's done in the slower moments, in the more downtrodden moments, and then, of course, in the climactic moments of the plot that make this game's narrative just elevate above the sum of its parts. And then overall, I really do think Sandfall Interactive, the developer, has created a fresh IP that and a world that just feels so fresh and well thought out and well developed that I cannot wait for the next one that they do. And I don't expect them to follow the events of this narrative. I expect it to kind of Final Fantasy itself, where each game is its own thing. But the next Clair obscure game, whatever that is, I'm on board 100%. You've bought such great loyalty and fanfare for me. The reason I give this game amazing, which is a 9 on our scale, is because there's just a couple of small things that just continuously held the game back from me from doing that. The plot just kind of being pretty basic is one of those things. The way that they divvy out information to the player narratively is intentional. I find it frustrating in the moment, but at the end of it, it's worth it. They earn the choices that they make because it's so good by the end of it. And there's just a lot of really small quality of life things that really could have helped elevate this game. In the first half of the game, before it really opens up, you could really use a mini map of some kind or a radar so that you're not constantly opening up your map or trying to figure out where you're going or just getting straight up lost in maps and in environments. I think a lot of the environments can look kind of samey in the sense of the biomes are all differentiated very well, but this hallway leads where, as opposed to that hallway leads I don't know where else. I get lost in that sense. It's hard to kind of just find your way around when you're exploring the more open parts of the map. And I had a small problem. This is 100%. I don't think it's 100% me because I don't have this problem with other games like this, but I had a weird thing where it felt like my button inputs were being ignored sometimes. Mostly, I would notice this in combat, but it wouldn't always happen in combat, or it wouldn't always happen based on parries. The simple act of you bring up your move set, and then you have two lists of move sets, and you have to press a button to switch between the lists. Sometimes when I pressed that button, it wouldn't switch between the lists, and sometimes when I clicked X on a thing, it wouldn't activate the Lumina or things like that. So I don't know if that was a me thing or that could have. Anyways, that's a small thing. Other than that, there's just a lot of other just small things where you're just right there from being excellent or from taking it that next step forward. There's just a bunch of little small quality of life things that if we had worked around those easily in probably my top 10 of all time, if it's not already there where it is right now, because this is a very, very strong, this is the strongest 9 out of 10 you could ever get in a video game. But Phil, I want to hear your opinions here on Clair Obscur Expedition 33.
Yeah. So from me, I'm going full out. This is a masterpiece. This is, for me, a 10 out of 10 gaming experience. As you said, Tavin, this, I kind of, I don't want to make the same, I don't want to say mistake, because I know last year I was really high on Unicorn Overlord, and I was very eager to put it in my top 10 of all time. It's still in my top like 15 to 20 of all time, but you know, I think this is more of a top 10 contender for myself of all time. But I want to give it some space, you know. I want to give the time for a replay, which, you know, I have put some more time into Unicorn Overlord, but that's not what we're talking about today. For me, the only sticking point that I have is something that you've brought up, and it's the lack of a mini map, especially in those early hours where it does kind of feel like you're just meandering around lost and not really knowing exactly, oh, is this a progression path? Is this a side path? I do wish that there was more distinction. I know that there are like lamps like on the progression path, but they're not always the most obvious.
I didn't even notice them.
Yeah.
Because I know what you're talking about. I didn't even notice them until people online pointed them out to me, and I went, "Oh, okay, cool."
That's like your yellow
and
tape,
that's
or whatever.
core. That's core path only.
Yeah.
Like, which you're never really gonna get lost in that sense. I mean, when you're like exploring all the other stuff, where you're like, I don't fucking know where I am anymore.
Yeah. And then I gotta just keep glazing this game, where, you know, maybe I feel like you didn't do it enough. I fucking love these characters. Monoko and Verso specifically, they have the strongest bromance in gaming,
Mm-hmm.
I think. I love their dynamics so much. And like, you know, when we start talking about spoilers, it gets a little tragic. Don't think you know. Never mind.
I mean, I know,
You know?
but like, yeah, just like the narrative of the game, yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, do you know who Monoko is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's some fucking sad stuff.
Sure.
And especially, like, you know, when it comes to Verso and all that. But I know we'll get to it later, but I'm baffled that you chose the ending that you chose. But once again,
Are we doing spoilers here?
Well, eventually we will. Well,
I was thinking maybe at some point we would just do a spoiler cast or something. I was not thinking.
I
we
was
would
just
do
gonna
that today.
dive into it as soon as we like lift the gates up.
Oh, I want to talk about game
Oh,
first,
of course,
you know,
yeah,
like
yeah.
in normal stuff. But sure, we can do it at the end of this. Right.
But yeah, just the way this game kind of has that slow start, where you open up with Gustav and you're in Lumiere and you're very upset, you know, and you meet Mael and you're talking about your ex, and then that first time going through Lumiere and you're talking to
Sophia.
So and I think it's just Sophie.
They bounce between it.
Okay. But as soon as like they hit with the Gommage and like that like Thanos snap like blip type deal, it was heart-wrenching. Absolutely heart-wrenching. And it just really set the stakes for like what you're dealing with in this. And I love that this game was able to do that, especially for me. And like growing up, I loved stories like this and kind of going up against these impossible odds and trying to conquer. And this game just really resonated with me with its themes of like grief and you know, coming together to face a common goal. And it just really resonated with me that I was shedding tears by the time credits rolled. And you know, if you at all resonated with this game, I think the big steps that Sandfall Interactive has like made with making this game from such a small team, 30 people made this game, this masterpiece of a game. It's insane.
Well, they had help from other studios.
Well, but still,
you know,
but like the core
not to
30
take away,
people.
it's incredible.
Yeah. And it's just insane that, especially like for the past couple of years, these smaller groups of people making these incredible games. You got Astrobot last year, Clair Obscure this year. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But I really just want to dive into how the combat and stuff really vibed with me. I am a newer Souls person, so I'm not super adept when it comes to parrying. I fucking locked in when it comes to this game, dude. This game has probably the most satisfying parry that I've ever experienced in a game. I haven't played Sekiro. I know to you it's Sekiro.
Sekiro's still number one.
But this to me is my number one, like, best parry mechanic in a game, and like the best feeling parry.
This one's up
in a
there.
game.
This one's up there. This is probably the tightest parry I've ever had. Like, you gotta, like, on the market. Like, there is very little wiggle room for, like, forgiveness.
I was also like all or nothing for parry. I was not dodging. I saw some from your shorts and stuff. You were doing the dodge every once in a while.
For a long time, I was parry only, but when it got to, like, hey, we're gonna hit you, like, 17 times, and there was a... I think something that's beautiful about this game is your build changes so much.
Yeah.
Like, every, like, 5 hours, like, you're rocking different party members. Your entire, like, main build will change. The only thing that was consistent for me is I was a fire build for pretty much the entire game.
The burn.
Yeah, a lot of burns for me. That's the only thing that remained consistent. My party members would change every 5 to 10 hours. My focus on whether I'm going to, like, do a bunch of, like, medium-sized attacks versus, like, okay, I'm going to do the setups for one big major attack, or or I'm going to let, like, sort of this passive damage happen to where it affects things XYZ way. That was changing constantly. Like, all of those things were just changing constantly. So for a majority of the game, I was parry only, straight up. But then, like I said in my own, like, bit in the beginning, the enemies, like, are dynamic and throw a lot of different complicated combos and attacks at you. And at some point, the parry just became less relevant in my build. So at some point, I realized, why am I taking this extra damage that I don't need to take? Or why am I taking this extra risk that I don't need to take? Sure, a counterattack would do a bunch of damage also, but I'm not hitting every parry, and a lot of these attacks or a lot of these battles aren't lasting long enough to where a counterattack matters.
Yeah.
So let me hit this dodge. Fuck it. Let me get this dodge out.
Yeah, for me, I was a very, like, glass cannon type build, to where it really benefits to get that parry, because, like, you're gonna do so much damage and stun buildup on the enemy from this one counterattack.
Yeah.
That the battle's over as soon as you get that counterattack, right?
Yeah.
And for me too, my build and my party changed constantly throughout this game, because I feel like you're almost kind of not experiencing the entire game if you stick with one strategy the entire time.
Yeah.
Like, I love the wide breadth of strategies that are available to the player in this game. You can have, like you said, a burn build. You can have, like I did, heavily on parries and counterattacks. You can have on really trying to get that gradient meter up, which has some of the coolest, most satisfying animations in the game in terms of moves. Like, they're so cool. You can have, like, a shield build where, like, you get more powerful the more shields you have on you, and you get one every time. And it's just so cool.
Yeah. So what was your main party build?
My main party build, so it went from, in the early game, it was Gustav, Lune, Mael. It was those three. Then going into Act 2, where you get the addition of Verso, I really,
and eventually
really liked...
Monoko, yeah.
With eventually Monoko. I didn't even mention CL as well. I also really liked CL. There was a minute where I kind of just kicked Gustav out of the party, where it was just CL, Lune, and Mael.
CL never really got... I think this game's really good at, like, showing you your options, seeing, like, you can see the gameplay path ahead of you and going like that. So I see the vision with CL, but I was always like, it's fine. So CL never really made it for me.
She's kind of like half high fucking damage and half, like, major support, because some of her abilities can give you pretty much every single buff under the sun. Like, they can give you, like, powerful shell and rush, were, like, the speed one and, like, the defense one. But anyway, going into Act 2, I really, really vibed with Verso, because I loved the perfection mechanic and just how his different abilities kind of stack with perfection, and getting all that. Perfection being, like, if you don't get hit and you're able to parry and land a lot of damage, it'll go from rank D all the way to rank S. And
we're gonna have a lot of, like, nerdy conversations about individual characters, because this, a lot like how the Final Fantasy VII remake games work, each character could be their own gameplay loop.
Exactly.
Like, it could be their, like, you would expect in a lot of turn-based RPGs, you would expect, like, oh, this is the mechanic of the game, you know? And so each of these characters builds into that. In this one, each character has their own the mechanic, you know? And so,
like, I just kind of want to run through them real quick. We have Gustav with the
build-up charge.
The overcharge, right? You have Mael with the 3 different stances. You got, well, I guess technically 4 if it's stance less.
It does become, depending on your build, that does become helpful.
defensive, offensive, virtuous, all that good stuff. And then you got Lune with the stains.
The stains and element-based magic.
Element-based magic.
Yeah.
CL with I forget what it's called.
They're cards.
But it's Foretell is what it's called. Yeah. So we'll build that up, and like I said, there's a lot of support that can be added as well.
CL is I'm going to apply this counter to an enemy.
Apply buffs to your teammates.
Well, I'm going to apply this counter, or I'm going to apply this this
marker.
I'm going to apply this mark to you, and the amount of marks you have on it will allow me to do different things.
Correct. Yeah. And then Verso with the perfection. Monoko, who just becomes the different Nevrons.
Yeah,
which is super cool.
Monoko's another thing that he always stayed in the back line for me.
Okay.
But every time he would come in, I'd be like, God, he got cooler since the last time I used him because he killed 3 guys for me. So now he's got this move, this move, this move.
Yeah. So for me, going from the beginning of Act 2, my team was Verso, Mael, and Lune. And
that was mine for a majority of the game.
Yeah.
But definitely in the last third.
And then that I was rocking with that for probably up until right before the final boss of Act 2.
Yeah.
And then right then I was like, I'm gonna sleep on a Monoko. Let me see what he's got. And then Monoko became my support network because he had these abilities that could heal your teammates, give them extra energy to do better moves on your turns.
Yeah. Monoko's a beast.
Slow down the enemy so you can go have your turns faster.
Yeah.
It was insanely good. And especially with how some of the weapons for these characters stack with what strategy you want to use of them. Because there's at least 2 to 3 different sub-strategies with each of these individual characters regular strategies. And it's insane the amount of it feels like the branching paths you can have.
So the majority of my game, like I said, to build off of what you're saying with the branching paths, the majority of my game was Verso, Mael, and Lune. But every time I played with Monoko specifically, it would change my build with my core team again.
Yeah.
So there was a couple of side stuff that you can do. That might be another critique, which might sound crazy, knowing the full scope of the game, but in the moment, there's not a lot of side stuff in this game. It's a lot of oh, this is a thing you can do, but it's best to stick main path pretty much all the way up until you enter Act 3, and even then, it might just be best to just wait until you roll credits on a game, outside of a couple of small things.
And I'll say, it does behoove you to complete some of that side stuff because some of the rewards are very valuable things
nuts.
That if you don't know about how useful they are, you're going to have a fucking hard time for some of these challenge bosses.
Yeah.
And I mean specifically how the Pictos and Luminas work.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's just ingenious, the way that they incorporate these abilities that you can add onto your character. And then they just get learned for the entire party after 4 battles.
Yeah,
right.
And then balancing and doing the maths with the Lumina points and all these things.
We had conversations on Discord. You talked about how you felt there was always never enough Lumina, color of Lumina to go around in order to make decent builds. I don't know if that's still how you felt by the time you were rolling credits.
I mean, the math plays in different ways, and there's a lot of different ways to find different Lumina. Which helps, but in the early hours, I was doing a lot of let's keep everybody as balanced as possible, this, that, and the third. Eventually, I was like, these are my main 3. Let me just run away with these 3. Specifically, Luna, I was like, she never left my party.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, let me have the focus on her. So eventually, there became a gap in Lumina's with characters of 50, 60 points. Where I was just like, I don't use these guys, and sure, when the second wave comes in, if I lose in a battle, and they have a great send in the reserve team mechanic, which is fantastic. Every game needs this.
Comes into play with a certain super boss.
Yeah, I know. I know about that. So I'm literally entering that boss fight and switching people around.
I have a build I can send you if you have trouble.
I don't. I'm sure I'll figure it out.
We'll see.
We'll see.
It's a very unique build.
I forgot what my point was. Anyways, back to the Monoko thing, though. Every time I inserted Monoko into the main party in whatever way I wanted to, because I was like, I'm not feeling this character right now, or I just really want to figure out Monoko a little bit more, he would drastically change everything I would do. Specifically in the last third, he totally reworked my build from getting burns up and having these crazy burn numbers up to, oh wait, Verso does really crazy shit against marked enemies. Oh, wait, so does Mael. Oh, okay, so let's, like, Lune became my support, but not through healing abilities, because eventually you get, to break down the Pictos and Lumina system, as you explore the game, you get these things called Pictos. And each character can equip 3 Pictos to themselves, and no other character can share that Pictos. You can learn the Pictos, which grants the ability for other characters to use that at the same time through the use of Lumina points. So you have 100 Lumina points, and certain Pictos cost 5, 1 point, some cost 20, some cost like fucking crazy numbers like 30
The highest I saw was 40.
Yeah.
I want to say it was a really cute in-universe explanation as to why like this expedition is so good. It's because how good Gustav is as an inventor. He created the Lumina converter.
Yes.
Which
allows them
everybody
to do that.
to learn that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, and we can talk about world building here in a little bit, but like Lune became I have a Lumina that like grants the party heals on fire damage. So I'm like, oh wait, Luna is my healer through damage. So she casts damage, and then the party will get healed off of that because every turn the enemies are getting burned. And then I was like, well, that's doing way more heals than the healing off of parry. So I'm like, oh, so the healing off the parry is kind of like a crutch. So I'm gonna get off that crutch. Eventually, I took that off, and I was just like, I don't fucking need it because the number differential is so crazy. And that was the thing that like is a mainstay for so many builds. Is like, oh, you got to get the healing off the parries. I'm like, no, it's garbage. Get it out of here.
By the end, I wasn't even worried about healing at all.
Oh, I so rarely used healing spells or anything like that at all. Most of my healing was done off of buffs of other things. God, this is like it's such a nerdy combat system like that you can really dive deep and just sink your teeth so deep into. And like in that, like I really enjoy the exploring of the map and exploring the different levels and dungeons that we
haven't even talked about Esk yet at all.
Oh, fucking probably the best mascot character in an RPG of all time.
I cannot tell you how badly I want this little SKA doll that shows up in the game.
Yeah.
It's so nice.
So fucking
it's so
dope.
cute. Yeah. And I love SK so much.
And this is one of the things, and I'm gonna address it now. I love the themes of this game. I don't think they are. This is gonna be pretentious. I don't think they're well executed on in the sense of like telling the player that this is what the story is about. Like a lot of this game's story is about the player not having all the information, so a lot gets revealed into it. And so I feel like there's massive amount of game time where it just kind of feels a little not pointless, but like the point is not the point. You know what I'm saying? Like the point is to get from the characters from point A to point B so that when we get to point C, we can have this massive moment. But there's a lot of the point A to point B to point C where it just feels like nothing's really happening narratively, or I'm not learning anything new about these characters. It's just, we're just fighting more Nevrons. We're just fighting more enemies, And I go, all right, I mean, this is cool. This is great combat. If it wasn't for the great combat, I would have gotten bored. Yeah. But there's just a lot of like in between time where you're like, nothing's really happening. Like, I don't really understand what the point of this moment is, And it's so that they can have these big explosive moments that make you go, what the fuck? Yeah. Like, every act break, the game flips upside down on its head.
Those moments where you go from, like, leaning back in your chair to sitting up.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, shit.
Yeah. And so, that's my... Fuck. I'm sorry. I'm a little, like, under the weather right now, so, like, I'm not working at my best here. But I also feel like my critique of that, of the what's the point of this part, will change in a replay. This is one of those games that, like, I truly believe a replay changes everything.
Yeah.
Like, it makes you go, oh, shit. Like, they were planting the seeds this early? That's crazy. And so, it's gone. I keep trying to reach for it. I was driving to something with themes. So I love the themes, but there's a specific point where I feel like the main theme of the game that's centered around grief and obsession with things that are lost, like, gets dragged into and pushed into your face, like, so aggressively that I go, whoa, why couldn't you have built to this throughout the entire narrative? You know, like there's like sprinkles of it, especially in that this might go down as like top 3 saddest video game intros of all time.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's right up there with the first Last of Us game and maybe even the second game where you're like, fuck, man, like I'm in a bad mood now.
Like, fuck this paintress, bro.
So yeah, God, it's just, it really is just so impressive what they're able to do, even when you have the smaller nitpicks of like, but I don't love this, or I wish this part was done better, but like every choice they make gets paid off somewhere else, you know? Except for the romance system. Terrible romance system.
It could be better.
It's just so...
I was fine
meaningless.
with I mean, I'm not trying to say like, I love Mass Effect's romance system, and I'm not, because like, I'm not trying to like, paint it as like, oh, that's a Coomer game. Oh, you just wanted to fuck him, you know? But like, I'm not looking for that here in Expedition 33. I didn't.
Yeah, but why is it there then?
Just because, you know, you are inevitably getting closer to these characters, so it's like, I don't know.
Well, and also because it adds extra weight. One thing that I really enjoy about this game is there's not really a main character. There's one or two that you would call the main character, but each character kind of has their own journey going on and are added equal weight in the narrative between all of them, really, until Act 3. But the whole relationship, social link a la like Persona thing where it's like, oh, you as Verso talk to your compatriots and build the number up, like, felt like it distracted from that. Like, of the sense of, like, Lune, to me, is just as much of a main character as Verso is. And the same goes for Minoko, and the same goes for CL. Like, they're all, like, equal footing from my perspective. And so, when you attach this mechanic of building a number up to a specific character and only their scenes, because there's crossover scenes where CL and Luna go off and talk and have a conversation, or CL and Eskie, or Mael and Minoko go off and have a conversation together. Why do those not count? Like, I would prefer, like, if it was like sort of like a Fire Emblem relationship building sense instead of a Persona relationship building sense.
I mean, I see what you're saying. Yeah. There are still those scenes where we'll see just those two characters interacting.
Yeah, but
I'd say
why is the number not there for them?
Right, I'd say a good 70% are just, you know, Verso and this character.
Yeah,
right? If not, maybe 75.
And I mean, even if you wanted like Verso to have the majority of the scenes because he's the character who is the outcast, he's the well, yeah, Ben Starr. Which, by the way, performances in this game.
I was gonna get into it right after.
Holy fucking shit! But like Verso being the outcast and the member of the group who has not been there with everybody all the time. Sure, okay, maybe he has more conversations. But, you know, when Luna and CL are staring up at the stars and talking about what are they going to do because everything seems so down and stuff, I'm like, bro, to not add the punctuation of this conversation mattered with the number going up takes away from this moment because you've added to these other moments that mean a lot less, you know?
See,
this is a super that's the super in-depth like nerdy thing. 90% of people won't care about this.
Yeah, I was gonna say that didn't really bother me at all. I was just there for the interaction and not necessarily like gameplay reward or whatever from end of that. Because to me, the reward was seeing that awesome scene of these two characters that I really enjoy interacting.
Sure, but the gameplay reward element of it and the build the number going up does affect combat. That being a part of it fully takes advantage of it being a video game, which is what I think every video game should do, is take advantage of it being a video game. So yes, I want to have these conversations because it has an effect on gameplay. And gameplay is the reason why I'm here.
But only to the extent that it just adds an extra like gradient attack.
Yes, but all of these things layering on top of each other created more impactful experience.
I get you.
And so to do that, but not do it over here, you know, this could vary. I mean, and maybe this was an idea that they just didn't have the time to get to or cut the system a long time. But this game, I think, should have team-up attacks. You know, and that should be gradients that like get earned through characters having conversations with each other and so forth, And it's like, oh, well, how great would it be if you could, throughout the game, you can change who you're playing as when you're exploring the world. So like, you can be whoever, and often the events of the narrative change who you're playing as.
Yeah.
Naturally. That's how I kind of did it. Is
for
the most part, I just let the game pick. If the game said this was CL's chapter, I let it be CL's chapter.
Right.
Eventually, it just kind of becomes Verso's show. But I appreciate it when they do that. But if you could do it when you're at camp, because at camp you're only Verso. So if you could also do it at camp, and then who you're playing as and who you're talking to affects that, and then they develop bonds and then develop team up attacks and so forth. That's a great way to take advantage of the medium, have all these mechanics that just layer on top of each other beautifully in ways that they already do.
Let me run around camp as SK. I just want to dance. I just want to ballet. This little ballet dances.
SK is so big, you just turn.
That bit where Verso and Mael are playing piano, and then SK is just ballet dance. Like he's floating and ballet dancing off the cliff.
Fucking SK is the fucking best, dude.
Sometimes I'm wee.
Sometimes I'm woo. I gotta I'll write it down here, but I had a theory in my head of how SK and his buddy Francois relate to the main theme of the game. We're gonna have to talk about that in spoilers. Performances, man.
Fucking holy shit! This cast though, right?
Whoa.
You got Charlie Cox
as
fucking
Gustav.
Daredevil himself as Gustav, putting on a fucking excellent performance.
I loved him. He's so good in this. I think everybody in this game really shines.
Ben Starr as Verso, Jennifer English as Mael.
Murder.
Insanely good.
Murder. Jennifer English. Woo! I feel so bad. The when award season comes around, this game's gonna fucking clean up. And I feel bad for the other games that are also great this year, because it's just not like, how is this game not winning whatever they call it, best soundtrack?
I was gonna say best score and music or whatever it is.
Fucking
easily
the performance of the year. It's gonna be fucking, if there's 5 options, at least 3 of them are going to this game.
Going from this game. Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck, that's just not fair.
It's so good. Imagine if Charlie Cox wins a fucking game award. That'd be insane.
It won't be him. I don't think he will.
But
I think there's more a chance of
Ben Starr.
Renoir.
Andy Serkis.
Andy Serkis. I think there's a better chance of Andy Serkis getting in there because, Renoir is our antagonist of the game.
Layers, but is he though?
Yeah.
But is he though?
As in, he's keeping the protagonist from their objective. I wouldn't say he's necessarily a villain. But, I mean, you could say that too. But
is he though?
Is he though? That's all tricky stuff. Fucking loved Andy Serkis' performance in this game.
Honestly, I love Andy Serkis as an actor.
Yeah.
This is probably one of my favorite roles of his ever.
Dude, it's up there with Caesar for me.
Yeah.
I think Caesar wins out just because that's a much more, it's focused on him. It's focused on him. So it's fully fleshed out and so forth. But of his roles where he doesn't play a creature and he just plays a human.
I think it's less
this
iconic.
Is probably my favorite.
It's less iconic, but as a performance, it's better than Gollum. But there's an icon. There's an iconicism to
Gollum's also
a
lot more room for creativity.
Yeah.
And I can do weird choices with Gollum, whereas this guy's just a dude.
That's my thing is with Andy Serkis, the first 3 things I think of now are Gollum and Smeagol, Caesar, and now Renoir.
Yeah. Phenomenal performance from Andy Serkis in this game. All right, well,
Ulysses Claw from the MCU.
He's not bad in those movies.
I made it rain.
I think we've avoided it as far as we can. And so as we approach the 40-minute mark here, which is way more than I thought we were doing today. But
end of Act 1.
You want to start there?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So let me give the out.
Okay, go ahead.
Let me give the out.
Go ahead.
Hard spoilers. You don't listen. Go play this game. Phil, go play the game.
Absolutely.
Go play the game.
Platinum the game.
This is one of the most you need to go play this game of all time. Go play it. It's really that good. Connor!
Get an answer.
Good. So that means he's not focused.
Couldn't afford Charlie Cox for the whole game.
He's expensive.
We had to kill him off.
Is he more expensive than Andy Serkis though? Or maybe maybe
but they couldn't do both.
We got to prioritize Andy Serkis.
Yeah.
Well, I truly believe the character depth was more important than the price of the actor. I think they went Oh, well, he's only in here for this much, which means shooting would be this much, or I guess recording, because Charlie Cox doesn't do the performance capture.
Mocap, yeah. I love the clips that you see on social media where people are talking about and like complimenting him, and it's like, I don't actually know that much about it. I was in the booth for 4 hours. I love that you love it. Awesome for them.
I don't know anything about video games.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't play games.
I'm not a gamer.
And he's like, I love that interview where he's
yeah.
He's like, I'm glad everybody loves it, but God, I feel like such a fraud because it was like half a day's work for me.
It was literally, he said he spent 4 hours in the booth.
Oh my God. But he did good. He did good.
So,
I don't think he's one of the strongest in the game, personally.
But
because
very impactful. Like in the early hours where Mael's missing and Lune just wants to carry on. Yeah. He's like, fuck the mission, Lune.
Yeah.
Fuck the mission.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Like that whole
and then the intro with the Gamage. Fucking shit, dude.
Knife in the heart.
Him and Sophie going back and forth. I was like, God damn, am I in love with you two? And I just met y'all. Like, the way to sell it immediately. Yeah. Way to have a character relationship dynamic that has layers, that has a history, that's complicated, that like, you know, you feel the love between them still, but they're like, it didn't work out for XYZ reasons.
Yeah, especially like for anyone who's been in like a complicated relationship like that.
Yeah.
Where maybe you had this big blow up and broke up, right? But there's always that hope that you want to get back together.
Yeah.
But you know, for these two,
or it was the small thing that you didn't know was so big until it turned into, hey, well, what's going on here? Moment,
and then you know, when you live in this world where there's always a number counting down, and then once you hit that age, like you're done, right? And then we see Sophie just disappear into rose petals.
Oh my God,
Gustav's
it's so
hands.
fucking good. And then of course, you know, great moments, great Gustav. Mechanically, I actually really loved Gustav.
Yeah.
So I was like distraught when he left because I was like, what do you mean I don't get my charge up big fuck you move anymore? What?
Like charge up almost all their stun meter with that one overcharge.
Glad, the Gustav homage move came in later.
Yeah.
God, that move.
Yeah, the male move.
Fuck, that move's so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, charging up Gustav's arm and getting that power attack brought in, like, and it's one of those things that like, the UI kind of spoils it for you, where you're like, well, these moves are locked off, and the other characters don't have these moves locked off. So I'm like, well, either Gustav goes through a big change and becomes super powered, or he's not long for this world.
Yeah.
You know? So it wasn't long for this world is the choice they made.
That cutscene is probably like the most replayed thing that I've seen on social media.
Really?
Yeah. Of just him turning around and like,
oh, yeah.
For those who come after.
Yeah.
Right?
You're right. Yeah. Well, I think that's...
And then
this is going to feed into the talk about the ending, which we'll get to. Like, that's the moment where I think the game solidifies of this is a tragedy.
Yep.
And first of all, I've been on record before. We don't get a lot of tragedies, not a lot of true tragedies in games. Like, we just don't get them. Because a lot of them want you to be the hero. They want you to feel good. And they want you, by the end of it, to go, yeah, we did it. I think you can count on one hand the number of true tragedies, including this game, that have taken place in video games, you know? And even a lot of those, you put an asterisk next to, because like games like Shadow of the Colossus want to make you feel good because then the land is growing and the deer comes out and, you know, touches the baby and you go, oh, cute, you know, like it's stuff like that. Final Fantasy VII does something very similar where both of those games are tragedies, but they cop out at the last second to do that. I think Alan Wake 1 did that too. You know, where this was supposed to be. I don't think Alan Wake is a tragedy. It's not.
Yeah.
It should be though. And it's lesser because it's not.
When we get to the two different endings, your ending's a cop-out. So
I think your ending's a cop-out.
No,
that's insane.
It's not.
Are you serious?
It's not.
How is it not?
We'll get there.
What?
When we get to the ending, we need to get to end of Act 2, I think, where after we get Minoko, we go to fight the Paintress.
Yeah.
By the way, I had no idea there was more game after you beat the Paintress until after.
Oh, you didn't know there was an act? I was told there was an Act 3 early, so I was like, oh, okay. So, and then when you told me that the Act 2 fight is the Paintress, I was like, I wish I didn't know that.
Yeah, well.
You know, so I could, you know, get that build up or whatever. But, God damn. And then like, I don't even know where to go here. Let's just go to Act 2. Let's just go to into Act 2, right? Because a lot of the like, what are the big guys called?
Axons.
Axons. A lot of the Axon stuff is the things where I'm like, this isn't that good. Like this is.
Have you seen the thing
great.
where people are saying each Axon is
the character?
One of the characters.
Yeah.
Dissandra.
Yeah. So like the masks is
Verso.
CL.
Nope. No.
The CL's the one who wins that fight.
But I'm not saying no. It's not the character, not the party. The Dissandra family.
Oh
the
yeah.
Axons.
Yeah.
So the mask keeper is Verso.
Is Verso. Yeah.
He who hides the truth with lies.
Yeah. And then the dancer is
their mom.
Is it their mom or is it the other
No,
Clair?
it's their mom. Clair is the dead Axon that we see in Old Lumiere. Called the.
That says a lot about Renoir.
I think they're called. Well, Renoir didn't kill it,
but Renoir made them.
Oh yeah.
So that says a lot about Renoir.
Yeah.
You know.
It's called like the Dozer or something like that.
Was it killed?
Oh yeah, Simon killed it. He's the one who made all those swords in the Old Lumiere. He in that fight with the Dozer.
Okay, cool. I love all the you pick up the notes from the different expeditioners.
Dude, the journals are so good.
They're real good. Many of them are like, fuck, that's dark. But then like you get the ones where they're like
Expedition 60.
Is that the bodybuilder ones?
Yeah.
What the fuck? They're just like
we've shed our clothes. The human form is the peak of
and they make it. They get to the thing.
They get to the very end. Like it's insane. The only reason that he lost is because Renoir killed the rest of them, but then that one guy who escaped, he couldn't make the swim all the way back. Like he just couldn't make the swim all the way back.
Well, he got blocked by the magic wall. Yeah.
Yeah.
And did he not make it back?
No.
Oh damn! I thought he did.
He drowned, and then that's why his journal washes up at Lumiere.
Oh,
yeah.
Fucking crazy. Love a lot of the.
Oh, so to continue the Axon being the Dissandra family, Alicia, who is Mael, is the Reacher, the really tall one.
Yeah, it didn't. Oh, I guess because you're reaching for. Okay, yeah, it's the potential of Mael that he's, or it's the potential he sees in Mael. Is what that. Which I love that moment where he talks. In Verso, you were always the favorite. And he goes, "No, I wasn't.
Nope.
No, I'm not. You're wrong with that." God, and then that scene. This is, I guess, cutting a little bit ahead because you don't have access to this area until Act 3. But that scene where Mael gamages Alicia and the way Verso reacts to it, that's where I was like, all right, I see where this is going. Yep. Like, yeah, we're going to fall on opposite sides of this conversation.
The beginnings, well, not the beginnings, they were disagreeing before that, but that's like the really like nail in the coffin of like how they are agreeing, how to proceed. It's like, at the beginning of Act 3 is kind of when it's revealed that Mael herself, a paintress, has the same powers.
Yeah. Into Act 2 is where I think the real big narrative flip happens, where you realize, oh, this isn't like a normal world. This is a world within a world where like they call it like the world is a painting that has been brought to life with the
Dissandra family.
My interpretation of it and how their power works is they are able to sort of imbue their paintings with a part of their soul, which brings it to life.
The chroma.
Yeah. And so all of this conflict has been the Dissandra family battling because they lost Verso in a fire.
Set by the writers.
We get no information about that other than
it's like the
writers.
Opposite factions, the painters versus the writers.
Yeah, which I love that that's a thing, but like it's like also, I love like it's a lot like what Clone Wars was before the prequels, where you go, oh man, Obi-Wan had this one line about the Clone Wars, and so now we're spending all this time wondering what this Clone Wars thing. Same thing here, we're like, you're fighting? Why are you fighting? Like,
which again, it's never confirmed that it was a fire set by the writers. That just you fill in the blanks. Like it was most likely.
I thought they said that.
I don't remember them ever saying that.
I thought they said that. Anyways, so at the end of Act 2, you get a flashback, and you find out Mael is actually, what was her name? Alicia.
Yeah.
And she's part of the Dissandra family, and her parents are rife with grief over the loss of their son. Their whole family is.
Yep.
And her mother is the paintress that you're chasing after this whole time.
Her name's Aline.
Something like Aline.
I think it's Aline.
Something like that. and has been living her life inside the painting so that she can stay with Verso, because there's painted versions of the whole family inside the painting. And if you stay in there too long, you kind of lose your humanity a little bit.
It's kind of like the whole thing where it's like if you lose yourself in your art, and you don't experience real life, you'll find yourself getting lost, and it's like it's get out there and touch grass every once in a while, guys.
Which makes you wonder, Phil, how is it the cop-out if that's obviously the more negative? Anyways, we'll get there.
It's the cop-out because you just bring everyone back and you live in your own little echo chamber for the rest of your non-life.
But that's a bad thing.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, either way, you're not
as opposed
living with
to
the consequences.
As opposed to we're just getting into it now. As opposed to just this bittersweet moment where you're like, man, I've dealt with my loss and I'm moving through my grief and I'm getting past these moments, not because I wanted to, but because I was forced to. But life kind of forces you to do that. That's a more positive ending. That's a more bittersweet ending. That's less of a tragic ending.
Ending that made me cry.
This is the thing that you chose. If you chose the other one, you'd still cry.
I don't know if it would be as impactful to me.
I think you're crying.
Sad.
I mean, I would guess. I would guess you're crying before that cutscene even plays. So you're crying at the choice.
Honestly, no.
No, it's
like I'm emotional at that.
I also
time,
think like
tears don't fall until we see Verso's funeral.
I thought that was fine.
Very impactful.
Versus it's like, but there's like just this like feeling of like artificialness that happens in the other ending where you're like,
no, it started.
Yes, this is everything I wanted as a player, but now that I have it, it doesn't feel right.
Tears for me started before the cut to the funeral, but towards the end, like right after you make the choice and win the battle, where Monoko and Eskie are coming for one last group hug with Verso, and it's
good
very,
stuff.
very sad.
Good stuff. And then CL has a weird moment that I don't understand what they were trying to say with that.
Lune just
fucking dog eyes you and sits down.
Fuck
you. Kill me. Yeah, go ahead. Do it.
And then, you get up and you walk with your little boy version of yourself.
Yeah.
Stop painting.
That's the only thing that I was like, because the whole ride through, I was like, no, Mayo's right. Like, she can, like, this is fine. Like, because this, to me, the painting is a real world. Yes, it's uplifted through the soul of someone who's on the outside, but like, that's a real world. Characters make choices. They have relationships outside of when a painter is in proximity to them, right? So, like, these are like true characters or true people that have full lives. So to erase it is a genocide to me. But the thing about it is that it's torturing the soul of the law.
Yeah.
And that makes me go, And then to personify it with a little boy makes you go, that's not right.
No.
All right, this is like the morally wrong choice to do.
No.
But I think it's artistically the choice that I don't think there should have been a choice at the end of the game. Because so much of this game is you don't get a choice. So I feel like, and I felt this way about Ghost of Tsushima as well, where I feel like giving us the choice is a cop-out.
Oh, to kill Lord Shimura or not?
Yeah, I feel like you as a creative had an idea of what you wanted the ending to be, but felt like, but the player may want, a say in this, so let's give them a different ending so that to satisfy their need for choice.
Yeah.
Fuck the player. Like, that's what I think makes, games like Metal Gear Solid 2 and The Last of Us Part 2 and Shadow of the Colossus so great, is it's like, man, fuck the player. You're like, the player is wrong,
I loved that, we talked about this being a whole painted world based on like how Verso sees it. So we filled it with like things that would make his little sister Alicia happy. Eskie, being this big puffball because she always carries around that stuffed animal.
Yeah.
Monoko is based on the family
dog
that passed away. Same with Noko.
Which the little guy is like another dog, right? Yeah.
I think it was Monoko's son.
Was it the son?
So yeah,
I thought it was just two dogs that they had, and one was just a
there was some
dog.
kind of relation.
Yeah. Dogs pack animals.
I mean, like a blood relation.
Oh, I didn't get that.
The whole like Monoko and Noko in the painting as well. Like I think it's one of two things. Either Noko is Monoko's dad, or Noko is Monoko's son.
Yeah, see, I didn't catch it that way. If you want to, my interpretation would be is that they had Noko, the small dog, first. So then when Monoko comes in, as we're bringing this new dog home, And maybe we're bringing Minoko in as a puppy, but Minoko grows to be larger or whatever, you know? And so it's that weird thing of like, well, this small dog that is weaker is the OG. And so, you know, we're following him, but at some point that changes, right? And so now the big dog becomes the protector of the small dog. And then that kind of reflects the relationship that you find in the personal side quests, which I wish we had more in-depth versions of those. Where Minoko tells the story of like, yeah, Noko was my mentor and taught me a lot. And then he died and we resurrected him and now I've been raising him. So it's this weird thing for me where I'm like, you mean this to me, but you are in this state of your life right now, you know?
God.
But I also love that they don't really answer these questions and they allow a lot of interpretation to happen. You know, like they do a really good job of just setting up enough and leaving it open enough. Because a lot of times you feel like, oh, leaving it open for interpretation can be a cop-out. Like type thing. And I think this game like rides that line beautifully where like we are giving you just enough to like spark the curiosity, spark the imagination. And then we are stopping just short of just straight up telling you what this is, you know? And that's such a tricky balance to have because it's so very quickly, you're not giving me enough information that I don't care, or you're giving me too much information to where you've just hardline defined this thing. And so now I care just dependent upon my own life experience. But like, this is just enough to where it's like, anybody can care because you just live life and you know that's your story, this is my story, I can relate in this one.
There aren't any like bad characters in this game. They're all very like well layered, they're all very like interesting, right? But towards the end, like because of specific like story beats that we hit with her, CL like became one of the big front runners for like one of my favorites in the whole game because like just her whole story. Right?
Oh yeah,
Lune fell towards the bottom for me.
Yeah, I think Lune has just such a strong beginning, and CL has a strong like ending. Is the thing, and this is the thing of like I just wanted more. Like with everybody, like this is the thing. It was another thing of like the in between states where plot's not moving. We can fill that with character moments, and they kind of try to in the Axon fights because. CL beats the mask thing, and then Lune beats the dancer.
In that Mask Keeper cutscene where like they're all getting hit with masks, but Minoko's doesn't work because he's already wearing a mask.
Yeah. And then, but like CL like embraces the mask and like uses that to empower herself to beat the accent, and then we never touch on that. Why the fuck did that happen? What about you allowed you to do that? And like, there's enough to like kind of infer of like. The mask she put on, but that's not really her though.
It's like that was what I took from it was like she puts on this mask of outwardly being positive when on the inside she's dealt with all this grief.
Yeah.
Like, you know, she lost her husband.
Yeah.
After losing her husband, she tried to kill herself.
Yeah.
And then
lost a baby.
Because of that, she miscarried because she didn't know she was pregnant.
Having a tragic story doesn't make you a better character for me. Like, like to me, it's like, oh wow, this is great. And don't get me wrong, CL's a great character.
Yeah,
I love all of these characters are great written characters. You know, but I just feel like these are moments where we can dive another layer deep. You know, and we can find more meat to chew on because. Almost willing to bet there's no dialogue in these scenes that I'm talking about against the accents. They just go and do it. So I'm almost willing to bet the actors didn't even know about that, you know, because why do they need to know? It's just, oh yeah, we went to the accent and we beat the accent. You know, the cutscenes may not have been developed by the time the actors were in the booth. So like when the actors are making choices, they don't have that information. So all they know is, oh, we beat the thing, you know,
right.
You know, and it's the gamification of it. So like, why can't there be more, you know? And this is another thing of like, I don't believe there's a main character in this game. Like, and so I want more conversations of crosstalk between them and not just so focused on Verso, you know? Like, we have more opportunity to dive deep. I imagine Lune's got a perspective on CL's suicide attempt, and then, you know, maybe she doesn't have all the information and gets enlightened by CL later or something like that. What did Mayel feel in that moment? Because Mayel knows all these people also through her, you know, second life that she lives through that. You know, and then why does Lune then narratively take a back seat, even though she's so strong in the front? And when she does pop up, she remains strong, but they just don't do a lot with her. Like these are the things that I go, you just needed to push this just a little further, and you would have been like in that crazy S tier level place that like all the greats of all time are in, you know?
Damn, what a fucking game.
Because the combat goes there.
Yeah.
The gameplay goes there, is in that tier. But narratively, I feel like we're just a few steps short. But fucking so awesome.
Yeah. Great game.
We could keep going all day, live long day. And, you know, we didn't have a full blown spoiler conversation about everything. I mean, let's just talk endings. All right. And let's talk into that Act 3 fight. So we start fighting the real Renoir. And he becomes our like antagonist of Act 3. And we get to that point of you beat him, which is great. Great moment for Mayo. She looks like a badass. Yep. And then Verso is listening to what Renoir's saying, listening to what Mayo's saying, and you feel him pulling away and going, wrong. Like this, we are doing the wrong thing. We need to stop this. You know, you feel it like building in him. Mayo is just doubling down more and more and more into this. And it leads to this point to where Verso enters his alternate world between worlds, is what I've been calling it in my head, that he's not supposed to go into. They don't really explain why he is allowed to go in there.
I mean, you could see him start to fade away, but he was being kept there because he was in such close proximity to like the painter, like his consciousness, whatever.
You think so?
Yeah, that's my vibe from it, because none of the painted characters can live in there for very long. Mayle's an exception because she herself is a paintress.
Yeah.
So she can kind of go wherever she wants.
See, but they signify it with the different colored petals, where the red are the painted people, and then the gold are the real people.
Yeah.
And when he enters, it starts red, but then turns gold. And so I go, if my memory serves me correctly, it's been 2+ weeks since then.
I don't think it's color.
It definitely is gold when he walks in, and so that signifies something different than being red. And so I sat there and I went, well, why? Does he have a power? Has he elevated in some way? Like, what has caused him to be like this? You know? And so is it something his mom has imbued on him because he's immortal in this world that like, and other characters aren't, that his mother has imbued something in him that allows him to be there? I mean, it may just be as simple as that, right? Anyway, so he talks to the last remaining soul of
Verso.
the real Verso, right? And he's talking,
It's time to stop painting.
yeah, are you tired? And it nods, and he goes, so am I, you know? And this is my thing is like, I don't understand. Well, hold on. And so now Mayo enters, and it becomes this conflict of Mayo wants the painting to continue to exist, and Verso believes that for the purposes of the family to be able to move on and to stop, you know, the pain that happens inside the painting world itself, we have to destroy the whole thing. My thing about it is like, life is hard no matter fucking what your existence is. Like, if it hasn't been hard for you, just wait, because it's coming.
Yeah.
You know? And so to me, I think it's a completely reductionist view of human emotion and how people process their emotions and their feelings for Verso to go, oh, we're just going to wipe this and y'all will finally be able to move on. No, they won't. They're still, Verso's mother and sister are still going to be in that place until they choose to move on. You can't force them into processing these things. The problem is that they just continue to choose not to process them.
Yeah.
And I think forcing them out of the painting and destroying the painting, they're still going to make that choice. Like, they're not going to be able to move on, like, ever, you know? And so on top of that, even if Verso's perspective is, well, there's nothing but suffering going on in this world, I counter that with, what's the difference between that and our world? Like, there's suffering happening in our world too all the time, and everybody has to deal with their things anyway. That's just a real world. That's a life, you know?
I think so. What I got from it was, you know, and I'm not trying to reduce your.
Let me say, this is not. I'm debating with Painted Verso, the character.
Okay.
I think it's a great argument. Yeah. So, like, I think it's super well written and a great perspective to have. I just have a different perspective, and that's where, like, real great art allows you to be like,
yeah,
I don't agree with that, you know? Like,
yeah. And so kind of where I got from it, where, you know, where I did connect with, like, this grief element of it, right? I lost my dad, right? He passed away a few years ago. And I'll often have dreams where he's back, right? And it's fucking awesome to live in those fucking dreams, man. Because he's back and he's talking to me, and somehow he has knowledge, because that's how the subconscious works. Like, he has knowledge of what's been going on. But at the end of the day, it's not real.
Yeah.
And it's important to me that I not only like understand that it's not real, but like I just have to move on in my normal life, and I can't live there,
Sure.
And I can't help but draw that connection to where it's like, is that living if you're stuck in that state of being, right?
Well, and I think the game has a very strong opinion of no, it's not.
Exactly. And that's kind of where I'm with it.
Yeah.
That's where I kind of got with that, because it's like,
no, and I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not living, Sorry to cut you off.
No, of course.
Yeah. The mom and Mael lose their humanity in it, and that sucks for them. But to me, the solution is not to burn the world down, it's to get the people out that need to go out. So to me, it is a real world. But Verso's not real. The painted version of Renoir is not real. The painted version of Alicia is not real. Those characters are not real. So they need, like, if anything, Verso, like, just figure out a way to kill yourself. Like,
that's the thing, he can't.
Yeah, because the painters keep coming
Yeah.
in and doing that. So, like, it makes
he
it
keeps on being, he's being manipulated.
So, like,
he's being manipulated like a puppet on strings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
if I were to do that, my dad is Verso, I'm the one controlling the strings, and I'm causing him to go through
this puppeteering, of
exactly.
course. Yeah.
And it doesn't feel good.
But
like,
again,
it's not what I want.
But again, the world moves on if the painters leave. So the DeSandre family needs to move on, and they need to leave it alone.
But do they? But does it keep going without them? Is the thing.
I think definitively yes.
I don't think it does, because inevitably the little bit of Verso's soul is gonna run out.
Why?
Because the family is the one that's keeping him doing it.
But then the conflict wouldn't be around the boy; it would be around getting the painters out.
That's what they do. They get Renoir out. They get Alina out.
Right, but the painting doesn't die until Verso stops the soul from painting.
But it will eventually. Mael keeps it going, using her powers to keep it going.
That wasn't my intention. Or that wasn't my interpretation. My interpretation is they have the ability to bring these worlds to life, and then the worlds just live. So, because they as artists are imbuing part of their soul into it.
But Verso's the one that made the painting, and Verso is dead.
Yeah.
So they have to use their powers to keep that thing alive, because the person who painted it isn't alive anymore.
But they're not. But the conflict isn't on them leaving. It's of destroying the painting. That's the conflict.
I think it's both. Because if Mael isn't there, I don't think the world keeps going. I think because Mael wants to keep it going, and she wants to live there with her friends, she keeps it going by supplying power and keep that going.
Yeah, okay.
That's
that wasn't my interpretation, because if that were the case, then the game would end at Verso booting Mael out. And it doesn't. It ends at him getting the boy to stop and walk away.
Well, I think if he doesn't stop, I think eventually, if I think he had to stop him right there, because then eventually they would come back and make him keep doing it. I think eventually the power will run out, because that's not an infinite resource.
Because Mael's compromised with Renoir, and she's lying to him, and everybody knows she's lying, which is great. But Mael's compromise is, let me just stay here for a minute, do what I got to do, and then I'll leave, and we can go hide the painting. We don't have to destroy it. We can just go hide it and put it somewhere to where Mom will never see it again. I'll never see it again. This, that, and the third. We don't have to destroy this last bit of Verso that we have.
I was going to say, because Renoir wants to destroy it.
Renoir's opinion is you two will not stop searching for it.
Being Mael and Aline.
Yeah, is you two will not,
or Alicia.
You two will not return to your real lives. because y'all are living fake lives. So you two will not return to your real lives and help your family, which are suffering because you're so stuck in this. And so I need you to do that, and the only way to do that is to destroy everything.
It's also the fact that Mael is being selfish and that she doesn't want to go back to her real life because she is mute and disfigured, living a terrible life.
I think that also I think was a bigger, to me, that was a bigger motivation for Mael than her grief. The grief is still a motivation, but to me it's she's got that opposite effect. Is when she's in the real life, she feels like she's living a painted one.
Yeah.
You know? And so to me, that was the main motivation, is I can have a life here. I can live here. Like, I can talk to people and grow up and fall in love and do all these things here. I can't do that. She feels like she can't do that in the real world, you know? And so I think I think that was a bigger, like, thing for her than to be with her brother. Of course, being with her brother is there. And clearly, because she brings Gustav back, that she does not know how to deal with her grief either.
Yeah.
You know,
Brings everyone back. Fucking CL's husband and
who was the kid?
CL's son or CL's kid.
Ah, okay. I just didn't put that together because the kid doesn't sit next to CL. Like, it's sit next to Luna, which I thought was weird.
Oh, it might be Lune's sister. Because Lune has a brother and a sister.
It's a boy, isn't it?
Well, Lune has a brother and a sister, so I don't remember exactly. Okay. I didn't get that ending, so I haven't seen that cutscene since I saw it like a while ago.
Well, yeah, I saw both cutscenes that night, and then I haven't seen either since. But yeah, I just feel like
it's either CL's kid or it's one of Lune's siblings.
Interesting, because the way they frame it, it made it seem like it was a young Verso, and that she like rebirthed.
I mean, I could also
Verso,
see it being,
but then Verso comes out and plays the piano, and I go, okay, so it's not him.
Isn't Sophie back too?
Yeah,
yeah. So maybe
I guess
it's Gustav and Sophie's kid.
Possibly, yeah. Maybe it's just one of those things that they whatever they want for it or whatever.
Yeah.
Also, isn't the painted ending just a much more tragic ending, which kind of fits into the themes of the game a little bit more, which makes it seem like it was kind of the main intention the whole time. And that cutscene has a longer runtime, which means they had more ideas for it.
Just keep on justifying your fucking picks. It's fine.
I'm just saying.
Tavin's right. Put it in the comments. Tavin's right. Even though you're wrong.
I'm just saying, true tragedy's supposed to feel bad.
And
you don't feel bad with that.
I didn't fucking feel good.
Scene. It's a bittersweet thing, though. It's one of those things of like, this sucks, but it's going to lead to more positive things. You know? That's not a tragedy. Ladies and gentlemen, that has been your review for Expedition 33, Clair Obscure Expedition 33. Let us know down in the comments below what ending you chose, how you felt about the game, and, of course, your favorite moments, and maybe what Phil and I got wrong or failed to talk about here today. Until next time, have a great time, and Phil, say goodbye to the people.
Goodbye.